Hello everyone and welcome to another bachatarockstar Hearthstone video. Thank you so much for watching, and we're doing one of my most popular video series, ranking the legendaries from bottom and top, 23 all the way up to 1. And this includes all the heroes, this includes all the class legendaries, and all the neutral legendaries. And I make these videos because I want budget players to really understand the cards and understand like what is worth their time, what is worth their dust, because their dust is really valuable, and also to help players that have a lot of dust or have a lot of gold, which are the ones you want to target first. If you're going to end up getting the whole set, well, that's good, that's up to you, but maybe you can save like $50 on another set of packs and not have to buy that extra set of packs just because you want a few more legendaries. But especially for the budget players out there who are just like, I can only get 2 or 3 legendaries, which are the ones that I really want that are going to really help me. And so that's what you'll see, is that the best legendaries are not only going to be strong, but they'll be pretty versatile. And so I gave a lot of credence to strength and versatility. So that being said, very, very low on the versatility scale. This guy right here, Prince Valanar, Insta-Dust category. 4 mana, 4/4. Battle Cry, if your deck has no 4-cost cards, you can never still taunt. It's just too big of a drawback for too little of a benefit. There's already a 5 mana, 4/4 lifesteal card. So this card is pointless. Oh, it has taunt, so my opponent has to run into it. No, they can just remove it. And then you get no benefit to lifesteal. Lifesteal has to deal damage. And so if they just smash it with some sort of 4 damage removal, or ping and a frostbolt, this card is worthless. And yeah, it has taunt, but so what? Yes, taunt makes it more likely for the lifesteal mechanic to go off, but it's still not that good. And considering that I have to give up all 4-cost cards, that's ridiculous. Every deck uses 4-cost cards. Every deck is going to need to have those strong 4-drops, especially now if we believe that the meta is going to go slower. And so this card is just terrible. It's just absolutely terrible. Coming in at number 22, it's Prince Taldaram. 3 mana, 3/3. If your deck has no 3-cost cards, transform into a 3/3 copy of a minion. All this is a cheaper Faceless Manipulator. Faceless Manipulator doesn't see play in that many decks. It's already kind of a fringe card, even though the effect is really strong. The problem is that you have to stick a minion. Now, does this make it easier to stick a minion? Yes, it does. Is this effect neat? Yeah, it is neat. So I actually like this better than Prince Valanar because I think this effect is actually relatively strong. And if it was just a neutral card and the battle cry was just transform into a 3/3 copy of a minion, like, I would love this card. But a Faceless Manipulator costs 5 mana, so if you cost this at 4 mana and it's a 3/3 copy of a minion, I think that's fine. Why the drawback? Just to reduce the mana cost by 1? To turn it into a 3/3, which it already is? A 3 mana 3/3 is decent. It's not unplayable, but why would I want this as a legendary in my slot? And why would I have to sacrifice my 3-cost cards? 3-cost cards are probably the easiest ones to sacrifice, in my opinion. But they're still necessary. You still want to have them. Why is it there? It's dumb. Terrible. Insta-dust. Prince Taldaram, number 22. GTFO. And coming in at number 21, Prince Keleseth. I have been very vocal in my other videos about how bad these princes are. This is terrible. 2-cost cards? 2-cost cards are the cornerstones of almost all decks. In Arena, this is ultra garbage. In Constructed, this is just steaming garbage. But it's still bad. I mean, there are so many amazing 2-cost cards out there. There's so many like curve cards that you need, and it's in every deck. Every single deck is running 2-cost cards. I'm not going to play Paladin without Hydrologist. I'm not going to play Mage without my Sorcerer's Apprentice. The only one that could maybe get away with this is Rogue. And that's what brings this up from the bottom of the barrel, but it's still touching the bottom of the barrel, is that Rogue could potentially play this card, because then they would always dagger on 2. But what if you don't draw this card? Its effect is really strong because it buffs all the minions in your deck, and so then every minion that you draw is that much stronger. But if you don't draw this right on 2, this sucks. The potential for you to draw this on like turn 20 and then only buff like 2 or 3 cards that you then have to draw, just bad. Bad, bad, bad. And it's a 2-mana 2/2, so it's understated. I mean, these cards are just terrible. Coming in at number 20, it's Arphis. 4-mana 2/2 beast, death rattle, add a random Death Knight card to your hand. So this is still in the Instadust category, but it's at the top end of the Instadust category. You could consider potentially keeping this card, but I wouldn't recommend it. Now, 4-mana 2/2 stat line is just so bad. Really, really bad. And random Death Knight cards are a little misleading. Death Knight cards are actually a set of 8 cards that each have very strong effects for relatively reduced mana. You only get one of them. Yes, you're guaranteed to get one of them, so this card does cycle itself, but a 4-mana 2/2 is really bad. It's a death rattle, so you're not getting the card until your next turn. Assuming your opponent even kills this card, they may not. You may have to make the trade with it, and then you get the Death Knight card. And again, the Death Knight card is really strong, but you're not getting it until turn 5 or turn 6. So because of that, I just think the stat line is too low to make up for the effect. Coming in at number 19, it's Hadronox. 9-mana 3/7 Druid Legendary Death Rattle. Summon your taunt minions that died this game. So, not Instadust category, but pretty much Instadust category. I would not save this card if there were other better legendaries that I was looking to get. I'd be just pretty glad, like, well, basically, like, sometimes you look through your legendaries and you're like, oh, which legendary do I want to dust to try to get the really good card that I'm trying to get? And Hadronox would fit that bill pretty darn fast. I'd be like, oh good, Hadronox, I can get rid of him. You know, I would dust this card to try to get other epics and rares, to be honest with you. You know. But if he was the only legendary I had, and maybe there's a way to fit him in, like, he might be worth keeping. The effect is incredibly slow. It's a death rattle on a 7 health minion at 9 mana, and that just doesn't do anything. Now, can you innervate him out? Can you cheat him out? Sure, absolutely, you can. Here's the problem with doing that, though. You may not have summoned enough taunt minions to actually make this dude worth it. Now, we all know that there is Spreading Plague. We all know there's Serenite Chain Gang. We know that there's a lot of taunt-making things in Druid now. So that's pretty good, but by the time you hit your Spreading Plague, by the time you hit your Druid of the Swarm, like, it's going to take a while to get enough taunt minions out there to make this worth it. And then, let's say, you know, you hit your Spreading Plague and then you innervate out Hadronox, you know, a turn or 2 later, all you're getting back is a bunch of 1/5s. And at that point in the game, is that really that good? You'd have to have a way to kind of swing the board behind that. And then again, you still have to play this guy and then have him die. This effect is so slow. Even though it's really strong, yeah, you get a lot of taunt minions, but honestly, a lot of the times you're not getting that many taunt minions back by the time you decide to play this guy. Hadronox is in the almost Instadust category. Coming in at number 18, it's Bolvar Fireblood. 5-mana 1/7 Divine Shield. After a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, gain +2 attack. My problem with this card is versatility. Remember what we were saying earlier, how we're going to rate these cards pretty much on 2 categories, power, versatility. And so, while the power of this card is actually somewhat strong, 7 health on a 5-cost minion is really high, and the ability to continually buff him with other Divine Shield minions is pretty good. And there actually are a lot of cheap Divine Shield minions now. The Righteous Defender, the Argent Squire, there's Argent Protectors to give you more shields. Obviously there's a Blood Knight to destroy those shields and really buff this dude. But to me, the amount of setup that is required to get this guy to be anywhere like legit good, like, whoa, he's powerful, you're going to need to kill off probably 2 Divine Shields to make him good, and keep his Divine Shield on him. A 5/7 Divine Shield for 5, that's primo. But look at how much setup needs to happen before you can do that. You got to have Divine Shield minions on the board. They had to have not lost their Divine Shield. Then you got to play Bolvar. Then you got to trade them in. Then you get the buff. The likelihood of you having Divine Shield minions that have not lost their Divine Shield by the time you get ready to play this guy is pretty low. Because it's just so hard to make this thing work situationally, Bolvar's going in the almost insta-dust category. Number 17, Moorabi. 6 mana 4/4 Shaman Legendary. Whenever another minion is frozen, add a copy of it to your hand. Now, this card is supposed to be sort of the linchpin of the Frozen Shaman deck. And the idea is that the Frozen Shaman deck delays, gets a bunch of cards, gets a bunch of stuff, and comes back. My problem with this card is, one, I feel like all the other control decks and all the other control tools are better than this card. Yeah, you get a lot more value out of it, but there's just a lot more other cards that are out there that do even more for you than this card. And it's a 6 mana 4/4. The stats are terrible. You have to freeze a bunch of minions at once in order to make this card worth it, in order to then get the value. But in all likelihood, you're only going to be able to go off maybe one turn with this guy. Yeah, he has, taunt essentially on him, because you got to kill him. You can't let him get more value, but it's the 4/4, so it's not that hard to deal with, even on turn 6 or turn 7 if you manage to tempo him out really fast. And so, at most, you're getting back 2 cards, maybe 3, which is good value, which isn't terrible, but I don't know if that wins you the game. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's got the kind of power that we really need. So while I think Moorabi, the idea of Moorabi, the effect of Moorabi is pretty good, it's not that powerful, and to be honest, it's not that versatile. So he's kind of bad in both categories. Bolvar, I think, could be pretty strong given the right situation. And Moorabi could be pretty strong given the right situation. So they're not insta-dusting. But those situations are so hard to come up with and so hard to actually make happen that they're not going to come up in enough games to where you're going to consistently be able to pull it off and make good use of this card. And so that's why Moorabi's coming in at 17, almost insta-dust category. Coming in at number 16, it's Blood Queen Lana'thel. 5 mana, 1/6, lifesteal, has +1 attack for each card you've discarded this game. So the way you actually play this card is just to dump it as soon as you get it. And the 1 health, well, obviously the 1 attack is not that good, but the 6 health is pretty darn good on turn 5. He's going to have trouble killing it, and it's going to be a must kill for him because you can't let this card snowball. The other nice part about this card is that it can still get buffed while it's on the board. So you may not necessarily play this right on turn 5, but maybe you play this on turn 7 and have a discard effect. Maybe you play this on 5, it survives a turn, and then you Doomguard or you Fellhound, and now this becomes a 3/6 with lifesteal and continually gets buffed. So that's actually not too bad. My only problem is it's not going to heal you for that much. Maybe 4, maybe 6. It's just really hard to get enough discards on this card to make it good. And so that's the thing, is you kind of have to high roll with this card, and you have to be lucky enough to draw your discards ahead of time, not discard this card, be able to play it, have it stick on the board, then have it heal you up and give you lifesteal and stuff. That's relatively hard to do. Not quite as hard, I think, as setting up some of the other cards. And its synergy with Warlock is really strong, and I think its power level overall is probably a little stronger than, say, a Bolvar or maybe even a Moorabi for that deck. But it's still not that good. It's still difficult to pull this off and make this card worth it. Would I insta-dust her? No. But I would almost insta-dust her. Coming in at number 15, it's Rotface. 8 mana, 4/6 warrior legendary. Whenever this minion survives damage, summon a random legendary minion. There's two things I think holds this card back. Well, three things, but two major ones. One, it costs 8 mana. Two, it has to survive damage. And then three, there's a lot of crappy random legendary minions out there. The only way you're going to get the effect off immediately on turn 8 is to have some sort of self-damage effect already ready to go. And if you can do that, if you can get this guy out on turn 8 and immediately damage him, he's pretty good. There's value there. And I like the high roll aspect of this card. And so I think from a raw power level, this card actually could be pretty darn powerful, especially if you manage to damage it more than once. Granted, you will be damaging whatever legendary minion you get off of him first if you damage him again. But if you can set up a couple of whirlwind effects, this card is quite good, and it's going to give you a lot of good value. The problem is, though, is a lot of legendary minions are synergistic, so when you get them, they're kind of just a stat pile. And two, often have very good battle cries, hence that's what makes them powerful. And by not getting their battle cry, you lose a lot of their power. So ultimately what this becomes is kind of a good value card to get you a lot of stats on the board. But he has to survive damage, so you're not even guaranteed to get it. What if you can't set off a whirlwind effect? Well, then you're just going to have to hold this card in your hand until you can. That makes him a lot worse. You may have to wait until you play the Garrosh Death Knight, then play this guy on turn 10 and get your whirlwind effect. That's a long time to wait for this card to come out. I admit that the effect could be very powerful, but I think a lot of the time you're just getting, one of the princes. You're getting an Arthas. You're getting, a Lana'thel, which does nothing, or a Bolvar, which does nothing. There's too many legendaries that are, like I said, are just synergistic and part of it. So I think Rotface is just going to be in the almost insta-dust category. And coming in at number 14, Garrosh. Scourgelord Garrosh. 8 mana, Death Knight. Battlecry, equip a 4/3 Shadowmourne that also damages adjacent minions. And their hero power becomes what's called Blade Storm, which is a 2 mana whirlwind effect. The weapon's pretty good. The ability to clear off a bunch of minions, yeah, you take some face damage, is pretty darn awesome. And 4 damage, you could think of it as like a 3 minion flame strike. Like, that's strong. That is quite strong. And so being able to clear your minions, your opponent's minions out, and is really great. Like I love the first part of this card. I'm less in love with the second part of this card. You're replacing a hero power that's very defensive with one that is offensive, but also hurts your own minions. You probably are almost certainly going to play it in a deck that has some sort of mid-tempo and rage effect and rage mechanics that make you stronger, maybe draw you a bunch of cards, so you're going to be playing other cards with this deck. So I see there's some good synergies there, and there's some things that can actually work. And Scourgelord Garrosh is not in the insta-dust category. It is in the think about it and probably dust category. I could see keeping this and building a deck around it and that deck being pretty good, but I also think that it just doesn't do enough after the weapon's gone. So you gotta hope your opponent doesn't have a taunt. You gotta hope your opponent has an armored up totally. Number 13, Valeera the Hollow. 9 mana, Death Knight card. Battlecry gains stealth to your next turn. And then your passive hero power allows you to copy the last card that you already played. So on the surface, that seems really good, right? To get double value, to always get a copy of a card. That seems powerful, right? Problem is there's a lot of hidden drawbacks. The card that you copy still costs the same amount of mana. So the most you could probably do is play a 5 mana card and another 5 mana card. Now, yes, there's stuff you can do with Arcane Giants and getting a bunch of Arcane Giants out, and that's good. And there's definitely a lot of hidden ninja OTK kind of combos you could make. The immediate one that came to mind would be like South Sea Deckhand, 2 Cold Bloods, get a third Cold Blood, and then Faceless Manipulator that, and smash face for like 28. But if you just kind of control, get your opponent down to 28, draw your whole deck, play Valeera the Hollow, survive that turn, and you probably will because she has stealth, you can just come out of nowhere and smack them. And so I think the OTK abilities of this card actually make it quite good and actually make it playable and make it a card that I wouldn't dust and would want to make a deck around. Number 12, Lilian Voss. 4 mana, 4/5, battle cry, replace spells in your hand with random spells. So, what I think gives this card its higher rating, what I think gives this card its don't dust, try to make a deck around it, and that deck might be good, is that this is already a 4 mana, 4/5. It's already strong. It can already slot into your deck. It's already a great tempo play. And it replaces spells in your hand with random spells from your opponent's class. So you just all of a sudden get a bunch of cards from your opponent's class. Now those could be good, those could be bad. But then you can immediately follow that up on turn 5 with Ethereal Peddler and get a 2 mana discount on all of those spells. That's pretty strong. Are there decks that you could make out of this? Yes. You could get a Razor Petal deck, get a bunch of Razor Petals. You could get a bunch of cheap spells. You could trade them out. Now, a lot of cheap rogue spells are actually really good, so maybe you don't want to trade them out, but maybe you have a bunch of backstabs and preps and just stuff that doesn't really do anything. Lilian Voss can flip those, and maybe you high roll and you get a bunch of spells and you win the game. So, but where I do think the strength really is just being able to tempo this card out on turn 4 and maybe high rolling and getting some other spells. Maybe you have some crap spells from your opponent's class that are, that you've stolen and you don't need, and you just play this card and you flip them again and maybe you high roll there. But it's still a 4 mana 4/5, so even if you don't high roll, you still got a nice body. 4 mana 4/5 with a chance to really high roll on spells, like that's good. That's a card I would slot into a lot of decks. Number 11, Archbishop Benedictus. So, remember, power, versatility. The versatility of this card is almost nothing. So doggone it, it's got to be powerful because you're not going to play it in all the decks. Silence Priest, Power Overwhelming, Inner Fire Priest. You're not playing this deck. You don't need extra cards. It's not good, right? So it's only going to fit into a niche deck, a control style priest deck that tries to draw a lot of cards and then tries to get value out of Archbishop Benedictus. But in that deck, in a control style, steal your stuff style priest deck, this card is insane. I get it. The stats are bad. You're not playing this, you're not tempoing this out on turn 7. You're playing this later on in the game when your opponent has maybe only 10 cards left. It's like turn 15, something like that. And then both of you are relatively exhausted on resources, and now you just play this, and you get all your opponent's cards, and then there's no way you're losing in fatigue now, and now you get to draw their deck. And because you shuffled the entire deck, instead of getting Thought Steal and getting like 2 or 3 cards, and you're kind of like, these cards don't really work, I don't really get the synergy, you get the whole deck. So you're gonna get a good portion of your opponent's synergy now. And that kind of deck is going to be really strong and really, really tough to outvalue. And so, the only thing that really screws a deck like that up is aggro. And so that's the problem. This is why this card is not necessarily rated higher, is that the deck that it fits in is incredibly powerful, but can get slaughtered by other specific decks. And then having to tempo out a Benedictus on 7 just to get some stats is really bad. So, power level, this card is insanely powerful. Versatility level, very, very not that versatile. But I think the effect is strong enough, and the deck that you're going to get is going to be pretty darn good. Maybe even tier 1. So that's why I think our Archbishop Benedictus is the first one in the worth keeping tier. Coming in at number 10, Deathstalker Rexxar. 6 mana, 5 armor as always, but Battle Cry. Deal 2 damage to all enemy minions, and of course you get the Zombies effect. Getting to stitch 2 zombies together, pretty darn good. Getting to draw a strong card every turn, basically turning yourself into a warlock that always draws a strong zombie. That's good. That actually is good. And I think people slept on this card quite a bit just because it was the first one revealed. You get a board clear. On turn 6, maybe you're not killing all your opponent's minions, but, you know, it's still pretty good. The likelihood of you getting a beast with taunt is actually relatively high. Or maybe even getting the... there's a new bat that came out, a 4 mana 2/1, that also does a board clear. You combine that with like a... I don't know, Bloodfed Raptor or something like that, and you get a 5/3 body that deals 2 damage to everything. That's pretty good. Maybe you put charge on it and you just slam it in and you kill your opponent's board again. That's good. Like, the high roll potential for this card is really high, and you get to keep doing it. You get to just do it every turn, over and over and over and over again. Yeah, you lose the 2 damage hero power. That's a huge, huge loss. I do think the power of this card could make up for it. And I think there is a very viable deck here. You just throw this into your Tempo Hunter, and he's fine. Because what does Tempo Hunter try to do? How often are you actually using your hero power? You're only using your hero power in the late game. Right? Around turn 7, turn 8, turn 9. Because now you're throwing out 5 drops, which is where your curve... 5 and 6 drops, which is where your curve ends, and hitting that hero power and banging them in the face for 2. Well, instead of that, maybe hit your hero power and you're getting big, strong beasts to just continue to tempo out. Don't build Control Hunter. Just build Tempo Hunter and throw this in. Coming in at number 9, Professor Putricide. 4 mana, 5/4. After you play a secret, put a random hunter secret into the battlefield. Why do I think this is slightly better than Rexxar, though? Because I feel like it slots into almost any hunter deck you want that at least runs a couple of secrets. Does it have to be a secret-heavy deck? No. You just have a couple. It's a 4 mana, 5/4. You can just slam him on 4. If he dies, too bad. If he doesn't die, you get a Christmas tree. Versatility is really strong. And guess what? When the effect does go off, this card is really powerful. Multiple secrets. Now there's new secrets. There's a lot of stuff you have to play around. It's really difficult. This card not only has strong stats, not only can threaten face, not only can start to snowball and win you the game right now, it also acts as a control card, which could allow you to control the board, you know, force your opponent to play really awkwardly around a bunch of secrets. Then you can start to transition into your Deathstalker Rexxar turns. So I actually think this card has a lot of versatility in a lot of different decks. And fast hunters, slow hunters, mid-range hunters. It works. You can just throw him in, and he's good. And as long as you have a couple of secrets, he's good. But there's a lot of different decks that this card can slot in. It's just, its versatility is through the charts. And so that's why it's up here. That's why it's number 9, why it's making the top 10, and why it is the first in the Don't Dust, Figure It Out category. Coming in at number 8, it's Malfurion the Pestilent. 7 mana, choose one, summon 2 spiders or 2 scarabs, and then your hero power becomes choose one, get 3 attack, or get 3 armor. Remember how we talked about versatility? This card is incredibly versatile. The choose one effects, albeit in themselves, are not that good. But if you get them with Fandral, they're ridiculous. If you are slightly behind on board against some big minions, you play the poisonous spiders, you get the armor that helps you survive, then you trade them in, you get heart removal. If you just need a taunt wall right now, if you're playing a more taunt style Malfurion, and you want to get a couple scarabs to bring them back with Hadronox maybe, or just to protect your face, there you go. So this could be 7 mana, get an awesome hero power, heal for 15, right? 5 5 for the Scarab, 5 for the Scarab, 5 armor. Or it could be 7 mana, heal for 5, get 2 hard removals. That's pretty good too. Your opponent will still have to remove them. You know, they could just Volcanic Potion and clear it, so it's not quite as good. But, I don't know, there's a ton of versatility here. And the greatest part is, it's a 7 mana card. You can throw it in anywhere. Imagine just innervating this out on 5. Whoa, innervate out on 5, go. Give me 2 taunts, and then the next turn, punch, 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 punch. Just start punching shit in the face. Like, you don't need to build a deck around this at all. You know what you do? You just take this card and you build a deck and you're like, I don't know, I've got 2 or 3 card slots left over. Oh, Malfurion the Pestilent. Throw them in. It's good. Maybe you attack something and you lose 3 health. Well, the next turn you hero power and you get the 3 health back in armor. That's fantastic. There's so much good armor gain and life gain and protection that you can transition to the late game and just keep punching your opponent in the fucking face. That's where I think the real strength of this card comes in. It's just every turn, punch, 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 punch. You know, it's like Jiraxis, right? But the weapon never dies. You just keep punching. So there you go. I think it's an underrated strong card, and it's really, really versatile. So Malfurion the Pestilent is the first in the definitely keep it category. Number 7, Sindragosa. 8 mana, 8/8 for Battlecry. Summon 2 1 Frozen Champions. Why is this card so high? Why do I like this card so much? Well, it's a dragon. Dragons are awesome. So duh. 2, you can play this on 8, and then you can Volcanic Potion, or you can Twilight Drake, and immediately get 2 legendaries into your hand. That's great. That's good value. It's already an 8/8 body, which is sweet. You can combo this with Frostlich Jaina and kill your Frozen Champion with a ping, and also get a 3/6 that has lifesteal. Wow. The combo in my head that I hear is Frostlich Jaina 9, Sindragosa ping on 10, get an 8/8, a 3/6, and an 0/1, and a legendary in your hand. That's great. Now, I hear what you're saying. Hey, dude, Rotface gives you legendary minions. Why isn't Rotface higher? Well, Rotface has to survive damage to give you the minion, and you don't get the battle cry. These Frozen Champions, when they are killed, get put into your hand. So now I get full value from the legendary. Yes, I have to spend mana on them, which does suck. And it's very easy for me to get shit legendaries. I hear you. You've already gotten an 8/8 body. You've already gotten ping targets for your Frostlich Jaina. The abilities, especially in Mage, to just get this card over and over and over again and get legendaries over and over and over and over again are insane, and you're always getting an 8/8 body. Just, Sindragosa, just put it in your deck. That's all you need to do. This is what you do. You know how you win games with Mage? Sindragosa into your deck, find another 29 cards. There you go. So, Sindragosa is in my definite keep category. Number 6, Bloodreaver Gul'dan. 10 mana, Battlecry, summon all friendly demons that died this game, and the hero power is incredibly strong. It's 2 mana, deal 3 damage, and lifesteal for 3 as well. Okay, that hero power is insane. That hero power is insane in Warlock. That hero power alone would be worth this card. Just being able to hit that button over and over and over again, take down a minion, heal yourself for 3, take down a minion, heal yourself for 3. And because it's Warlock, you can life tap like crazy to try to get this card. And so even if you life tap yourself down to like 2 health, you get this card back and you just heal yourself back up to 30 with your hero powers, killing minions along the way. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you saw this right here, you also get a N'Zoth effect for demons. So 2 incredibly Powerful effects. Now, what about the versatility? Is this that versatile? It actually kind of is, because you're going to want to play a good number of demons in your deck if you're going to play a deck like this. But you don't have to play a discard lock to make your demons work. A demon lock deck actually could be really strong. I piloted a demon lock tempo demon lock deck pretty darn high on the ladder not too long ago. But I don't think your deck needs to be that late game oriented. I honestly think you can just kind of play a tempo style demon based deck, and then this is your backup win condition. You know, you play demons, you play demons, you play demons, you play Cabal Traffickers, you get a bunch of stuff. So if you haven't won yet, then it's like, okay, I haven't won yet. Bloodreaver Gul'dan. Boom, here's my demons. Bam, hit you in the face. Bam, go get them, demons. Go do more stuff. And hopefully you've drawn a large portion of your deck at this point because you've been life tapping like crazy. And then this card comes down and your opponent's like, well, I can't deal with that. Fucking I am dead. So, Bloodreaver Gul'dan, dude. Thumbs up. Definite keep category. Number 5, Frost Lich Jaina. So when I originally rated this card, I actually didn't think it was that good. Until I started thinking about the combos. Now, is an Elemental Mage that good? It was pretty good. So I think with this card, it actually is going to make Elemental Mage really good. Because now you don't have to play only tempo. You can play for the late game. You can play for value. And your elementals have lifesteal this game. We don't necessarily need to play a bunch of elementals. Hopefully you have elementals on the board already, which would be totally sweet. But summoning water elementals over and over and over again is insane value. Freezing the board with those water elementals is insane value. Being able to do it over and over and over and over again is insane value. Comboing this with Sindragosa and getting legendary minions over and over and over again is insane value. And listen to, do you see the pattern? Do you see the pattern? And so I thought about this more and more and more. And all you really need is to have one elemental that's relatively strong out there. Maybe a Blaze Caller or a Servant of Kalam. You put down Frost Lich Jaina. You summon your water elemental. You immediately give that elemental lifesteal. He trades in and you heal for 4. You've already gotten the armor for 5. You get your new hero power, you get your water elemental, and then just every turn after this, you can start grinding, freezing, stalling, smashing your opponent in the face. And so that's the crazy part, is I was thinking it had to be an elemental deck. Like, it absolutely had to be an elemental deck. Now, elementals are obviously going to help this card a lot. But it doesn't have to be an elemental deck. It can just be, get me a shit ton of value deck some more. You know? Let me play a later game control style and just keep getting elementals, keep healing, keep moving forward. Frost Lich Jaina, number 5. Definite keep category. Coming in at number 4, Shadowreaper Anduin. 8 mana, Priest Death Knight. Battlecry, destroy all minions with 5 or more attack. And the hero power is insane. It's void form. It's deal 2 damage, play a card, refresh your hero power. Wow. What a card. Fucking A. Better than Frost Lich Jaina? Yeah. Frost Lich Jaina is awesome, but slow. Shadowreaper Anduin basically says, I'm going to play this card, what the fuck you going to do about it? Nothing. Because I'm about to drop 2 damage bombs all over your ass. And guess what? I can target those bombs anywhere I want. And you know what? I'm not relegated to just 1 bomb per turn. I can get as many bombs as I want. I can use my mana as efficiently as I want. That's insane. It's insane. Do I want to... Could I just Hunter Hero Power like 3 or 4 times? Sure. Right? You combine this with Archbishop Benedictus, that draws you a bunch of cards, right? So you'll never run out of cards in that sense. You play a super draw-heavy deck, and then this is your finisher. This card comes down, and you're like, you know what? I'm fucking done with healing now. Boom, 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 boom. clearing boards, dropping shit, attacking face. Go, 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 go. Super versatile. Throw it into any deck. Any deck. Doesn't matter. Any priest deck will want to have this card because the effect is just so strong. You know, obviously it's very, very good in like a Kazakus deck, and a Raza the Unchained deck, you know, but any deck will work with this. Like, just the effect is so strong. Oh, and by the way, when you play this card, wipe out all strong minions. And guess what that leaves you? Minions that are really vulnerable to 2 damage shots. Insane card. This is the first in the insane category. Thrall Deathseer. 5 mana Death Knight for Shaman. Battlecry. Transform your minions into random ones that cost 2 more. And then your hero power becomes transform a minion into something that costs 1 more. Token Shaman is already fantastic. Give this to Token Shaman and it is even more fantastic. Already incredibly versatile. Transforming all your minions into random ones that cost 2 more is super good. But even if you only have like 2 minions on board and you play this guy, that's awesome, right? You're guaranteed not to get a Doomsayer because the Doomsayer costs 2 mana. So even your totems become 3 drops, which is fucking great. You know? And then everything gets a double buff. Double buff. So good. Incredibly versatile. Incredibly powerful. The only drawback... And cheap! So cheap! Just build a board, dump this dude, Bloodlust, go, win game. Aggro Token Shaman is going to love this card, is going to play this card. It's already good. It's already a tier 1 deck. It's going to be tier 0 with this card. The only drawback, the only one, is the fact that you don't get totems anymore. But even then, I think you can mitigate that with token stuff, right? Serenite Chain Gangs, Feral Spirits. This card is just ridiculous. Super strong, super powerful, super versatile. Thrall Deathseer, number 3. Coming in at number 2, the Lich King. 8 mana, 8/8 taunt. At the end of your turn, add a random Death Knight card to your hand. So, is this better than Ysera? Yeah, way better. Way more attack. Yes, less health, sure. Has taunt, so it immediately affects the board. It immediately puts something on that you have to deal with. You get a random Death Knight card put into your hand. Those cards are pretty strong, so it does pseudo-cycle itself. If you don't kill it, it's smashing 8 face, and you're getting another card over and over and over again. Simple, strong, really great. Put into a control deck. Versatile. Any style, any somewhat late game style deck will want to have this card. Potentially, this could give you fucking Frostmourne, which is a 7 mana 5/3. Any minions you kill, you get to resummon. That would be awesome. And really only maybe 2 of the Death Knight cards are bad. And they're, you know, and the other ones are just really good and really strong and really undercosted for their effect that you get. So that's great. Now, I hear what you're saying. Well, why isn't Arthas good? Well, Arthas is 4 mana 2/2. This is an 8 mana 8/8 taunt. This has a big ol' booty. This has a big ol' sword. And this immediately cycles itself for a undercosted, overpowered card most of the time. That's insane. If this was a class legendary, it'd be significantly lower on this list. The neutrality of it makes this the most versatile card, and hence puts it up really high on this list. Coming in at number 1, y'all probably knew what it was. Uther of the Ebon Blade, 9 mana, Paladin Death Knight, Battlecry, equip a 5/3 lifesteal weapon, and then your hero power becomes summon 2/2 horsemen. If you have 4 horsemen on the board, you auto win the game. Power level, boom, through the roof. The ability to auto win the game is insane. But is that the true power of this card? No. I would argue that hero power is ridiculous. Being able to just summon 2/2s over and over and over and over again, there is an inevitability to that. That's how Paladin would win before, when it had Justicar Trueheart and was getting 1/1s all day long. Well, guess what? A 5/3 lifesteal weapon is way better than that. If the goal of your deck is to just summon 2/2s until your opponent dies and grind them out, well, how are you going to do that? Well, I need to somehow live long enough to realize the value of my hero power. Well, what helps me live better than life gain? Oh, I don't know. How about life gain that also deals 5 damage a swing? What? A 5/3 lifesteal weapon. That's crazy good. So the problem with some of the other Death Knights is, yeah, you got armor, but a lot of times you also didn't do that much to the board. You were kind of realizing your power a few turns down. Uther is the only one that gives you something immediately that you can just start swinging and healing and clearing. Now, I hear you. Hey, what about Gul'dan? What about Jaina? Don't they give you stuff? Well, those things aren't active. Unless you bring back a Doomguard, your demons are sitting there. You can immediately swing with this weapon, immediately heal for 5, immediately kill something on the board, immediately get that health gain, that tempo swing. That's really good. Then you get to do it 3 more times. Then you can still summon Tyrion and get another and get an Ashbringer back and keep swinging hard and keep swinging face for 5 damage over and over and over again. That's fine, right? Then you keep getting a 2/2, a 2/2, a 2/2, a 2/2 over and over and over again, and your opponent always has to deal with it. And you keep dropping minions over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And then guess what? If your opponent just gets exhausted of resources, which they very well could, given a card this strong and this powerful, they just lose. Just straight up lose. Who cares? It doesn't matter how much health they have. You know? A control warrior could eventually just run out of removal. Yeah, they got Dead Man's Hand. Yeah, they got stuff like that. And so, you know, that's going to be powerful. But the versatility of this card is insane because you just put it in any deck. Like, here's an awesome weapon. Here's an awesome hero power. Have fun. Go win the game now. That's it. That's what it does. You know? This card is not asking you to, ooh, I gotta manipulate my deck and I gotta have some cards. You don't even need to have cards with this card. Just play it and go win. And then just like hero power and swing at stuff. And like, there you go. This card's versatility is insane. You don't need to play Control Paladin to make this card good. You can just play mid-range Paladin and this is your finisher. It's fine. Maybe it doesn't fit into Aggro Paladin. But it fits into every other Paladin. Uther the Ebon Blade is so strong, so good, so versatile. Here's what you do with it. You immediately craft it, you throw it in your Paladin deck, and then you say, what are the other cards? You go, this card, Tyrion, and then you go, what are my other cards? I don't know. But whatever deck I decide to build, I'm going to do that. That's it. That's all it is. It's the most powerful, versatile, legendary, Uther the Ebon Blade, #1. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. I love it. I hope you guys spread this, share this. I hope it helps. I thought really long and hard about these cards, and I really hope this helps you save your precious dust. I really hope this helps you target the decks that you really want to build, and that you build something great and you have an awesome time in Knights of the Frozen Throne, man. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Keep learning, keep rocking, and the Rockstar will see you later. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you want to see the newest videos, you can click here. If you want to see a recommended playlist, you can click here. And if you'd like to subscribe, you can click right here. Thank you so much, guys. Keep learning, keep rocking. The Rockstar will see you later.